Good morning. Just like I never miss an opportunity to see you every Tuesday morning, I'm trying not to miss an opportunity to tell you what I think is so important. Just like I think you should get the vaccination, so we're not talking about COVID next year and supply chain deficiencies. Let's get one priority straight. We don't want any more deaths from COVID. And anyone who is espousing misinformation on COVID vaccines is a merchant of death, and that's their priority. I don't care what their reasons are, but priorities count. In this country, it looks like a lot of people are merchants of death. There are those who think, well, if you don't get the vaccine, I really don't care whether you die. And there are those who are trying to prevent you from getting the vaccine. Well, when you get to be my age, every person is precious. Every life is precious. There's nothing more important than preservation of life and living well. Which brings me to other priorities. In California, Governor Newsom is into recall process. I don't know if ballots are going out this week or actual voting starts next week. But this is a case where a minority of folks have the ability to recall Newsom. They could recall any governor in California. It's a law. So don't be surprised when somebody who's doing the right thing is recalled. After all, it's his priority to keep people safe, and he said it, and he's made it into mandates. It's his priority to go with the wishes of his state's citizens, and they are mandating a cap on fossil fuels. And it is his priority to take care of the homeless by allowing illegal two families to expand to as much as 4 families within one property line. Well, that's a win-win for California's society. So it kind of makes you wonder, what's the priority of the opposition? Clearly, the priority is not we the people. And that brings me to legislation in the federal government. They have the power to legislate from the federal government. If it's a priority to keep our citizens safe, we'd have mandates on vaccines and stop this feeling that it's freedom to infect everyone, including children, because children suffer. We can also legislate a clean slate for workers, giving them the right to unionize and getting the corporations out of the process. We now have a major infrastructure bill before Congress. $3.5 trillion. There's no limit on the amount we can spend on infrastructure. I've heard about amazing inventions. I hate garbage in the streets in New York City. My son recently told me that there are solar compactors in other cities. You can put them on the streets, put the garbage in there, and it gets compacted. Well, that's a hell of a lot better than attracting rats and vermin. So my feeling is this: if you think outside the box, everyone in fossil fuels, alternative energies, can make a fortune. Unfortunately, most people want it either the way it was or they want to go back. Well, the genie's out of the box. Just like I think in Afghanistan, eventually women will be free to vote and do what they want. If the Taliban wants to be the ruling party, they're going to have to get with all the other parties to have a coalition so they're recognized as a formal state. For 20 years, women have had freedom. Women like it. And women like it here in this country too. They need reproductive health, and it should be their decision. And what are we doing? It's not a priority for Texas, and who knows how many other states are going to go along with this. Doesn't really matter, because it says that people are not priority. I may not think the same way as someone else, but I do believe that with collaboration and us having the same goals and intentions, we can come to an agreement on what's to be done to help people. No need to worry about this deficit anymore. We already know deficits don't matter. In times of need, we can print money, and we can pump money into the economy. There is no limit. Nobody has to suffer from pollution. Nobody has to suffer from lack of water. Nobody has to suffer with poor infrastructure and broadband, nor no health care. We can legislate it, and we can make it the law of the land, and we can fund it because we've got the cash to do so. It's interesting in a world that is so interconnected, and we are, because nobody's safe, we know, until all of us are safe. And that seems to be for COVID, and it's certainly for the monetary system of the globe. That monetary system is protected no matter what on a global platform. Are there other priorities? No, but there sure as hell should be. We need platforms around the globe for manufacturing. Everyone's got to be getting that vaccine in every country. That's the only way you can really resume travel effectively and have people meet each other again face to face. Isolation has its own traumas. Why would we want to live that way? And why would so many of us in our 70s and older or 60s want to be fearful of who may not be as cautious as we are and not live life to the fullest when we can? That's a crime, and it doesn't have to be. It's a needless crime that we have to worry about COVID, and we have to wonder that we're going to think about it for another year until everyone gets on board and gets the vaccine. And while folks are delaying that vaccination, the virus is mutating. So this is a necessity, folks, and it should be a priority. Infrastructure is a priority. Sure, Joe Manchin may be putting a smoke screen and saying, oh, he wants to cut back. It's not good for the country. Really? Tell me how not being connected to Wi-Fi is not going to be good for the country. Tell me how not having good roads and bridges is not good for the country, or subways. We can create a multitude of jobs if we have the vision just like they did during World War II. Those pacifists in corporations stopped being pacifists as soon as they knew they could benefit on segueing to new industries. That's what happened with Henry Ford. When he realized that his automotive business was going to be repurposed for tanks, hey, and trucks, he embraced it because he knew his business wasn't dead, it was just evolving. And Manchin, I gotta question his priorities. He doesn't like voting rights for everyone? Why? Who benefits if we don't all vote? There's only a few people who benefit when our vote is stifled and it is not one person, one vote. That's the big billionaires. They benefit, the billionaires. The rest of us, no. You can see what happens in every state of the union when people are not counted enough and valued enough. Manchin has an ulterior motive for these items not being priority. He may not state it, but he's got a super PAC with John Huntsman called No Labels, where they're touting that bipartisanship is the way to go. Well, right now, I don't see bipartisanship. And unfortunately, I don't see people in power seizing that power for the public good. And really, that's all that matters. There are 360 million of us. I don't want it to be 359 million because a million died. And Joe Manchin, it's on your head because you're not voting with all the people. Sometimes you gotta put politics aside and say, what is good for the greater good, and make that your priority. Priorities count. Money, we got it aplenty. If we can keep bailing out Wall Street, guess what? We can bail out Main Street too. And we can finally modernize, evolve, and adapt to what we've created and what we've wrought. So God bless you. Had to get this out because it's on my mind and I'd like it to be on yours too. What's your priority? I hope it's saving everyone's life and looking forward to a life well lived. God bless you.